All right, what is up, everybody? Thank you for being here on the Lulu and Brooke Show. My name is Brooke, and I'm a psychic tarot reader. I live in Wisconsin. I have a wife, I have a son, I have a dog, and yeah, it's all cool. On our podcast, we talk about spirituality, religion, esoteric shit, and just our journey along the way and how everything pertains. And here's Lulu.
Hi. Yep, I'm Lulu. I am in Folsom, California. I am a wife with four kiddos, and I love everything. I call myself a muse. That'll develop as I go because I truly just love musing about spirituality. Um, gosh, quantum physics, anything deep. I'm blown away. Anything that, encompasses our creator, which is everything. So yeah, that's just my heart. It's where my heart beats. I love it. So, and today we're going to be going over, so we kind of developed like our pillars
Yes,
toward what kind of brought us to our awakening in a sense or
yes,
what
yep,
brought us to our journey. That's
yeah.
how I kind of see it. How
hmm
do you see it?
Yeah, I see that too. It's kind of the light bulbs that went off,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Today we'll be talking about anxiety and kind of what goes along with that, along
Hmm.
with other like traumas or whatever,
Yeah.
right? And I also wanted to add that I've been on my journey for 5 years
Yeah.
of being awakened. And how long have you
What
been on
year?
yours?
What year did you?
In 2020.
Yeah. Yeah, that was
Yeah.
right around mine too.
Really?
Wonder if that, yeah. Yep.
Mine
That's
was
when we
around
started.
like Mine
Yeah,
was
go ahead.
around like November, and then
Okay.
December got really real for me.
Yeah. Because mine kicked off with we had moved to Folsom from Nevada. And we were work like we I was driving for Lyft, and just figuring out like why are things kind of difficult right now, like why, and this was 2019, so it kind of led into that.
Yeah, for sure.
But it was all those layers of like why am I why are things so hard for
Yeah,
me, like for my
yeah.
personal, like why, and that's when I kind of started dabbling in like hypnosis and all those things to try to figure out like, you know, oh, what, yeah. So we'll get all into that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, cool. Sounds good. Yeah, like why is this happening? That type of
Yeah.
thing. And one of the biggest ones was anxiety for me. But
Mhm.
I've had anxiety my whole life. Like
Yeah.
I've had
Same.
it as a child. I remember there were some key points that I really remember of just having crippling anxiety growing
Hmm.
up, and then just like with before my awakening or even into my awakening, because I could feel that expansion happening. It was like I would have panic attacks like every day, man. But when I was smaller, I remember this time when my grandma dropped me off at kindergarten for my first day, and they told
Hmm.
me to go outside, and I didn't know where anything was. So I went
Yeah.
outside in the front, and I was sitting there for hours. And yeah, it's
Fun.
like thinking I had to heal that part of me. Like it was really bad. And that was like thinking back on that gave me so
Notice that you were
much.
out there.
No. So then, yeah. So I know it's really sad, like to think about, like I've healed it a lot, but
Yeah.
I can see where things like that, a
Mhm.
lot of those things happened to me when I was small. Like my dad would forget me at school or just wouldn't come and pick me up.
Yeah. Yeah.
And there was this other time when like I didn't, my shoes were wet, and my dad was an alcoholic, so I couldn't wear them to school. So he told me to wear his shoes, and I was in fifth grade. Yeah, so I wore his shoes, and then everyone picked on me, and that was like so much
Oh,
anxiety. And it's just like, then I never had anything together because my life was so chaotic. So at school, like my locker would always be chaotic, and one day I couldn't get my locker open and I had a full-on like breakdown, man. I had a full-on anxiety attack, and it was like all through my life, anxiety has been one of the biggest things in my life. And then just like I need to be on time for stuff, otherwise I get all wonky and I need to do this. But really, what anxiety is just having an imbalance. You're
Yeah.
not balanced within your life. So, but leading into my awakening, I realized that I was having so much anxiety around everything. You know, when you start to understand what's going around you, and you start to understand your feelings, your triggers are what really set you off in being like, okay, this is what I gotta fix.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was like, and then I was gonna ask your side of that too.
Yeah. Yeah. Like I'm the baby of my family.
Yeah,
And that that played like a really because I always felt like and my sister and I mean I love my sisters, and
yeah,
like typical dynamic. The one right above me is 4 years. There's a 4 year difference, and so when she was 8, like I was 4, obviously, like but when she was 12, like I was 8, and she just thought, and she was like an early bloomer in a sense of like very responsible. She's a nurse now, very I think she graduated when she was like 16 and a half. So just very put together,
yeah,
and I was more of like a late bloomer, but also like our physical side, she was more of like a late bloomer and I was an early bloomer. So it was kind of like a flip-flopped, not that
okay,
that I mean, it kind of plays into it because it's part of it's part of how you develop like what like who you
right,
are in your physical sense.
right,
So just I was always wanting to be older, like I always wanted to like do stuff. And like she babysat first, I always want and I loved kids. Like I wanted to babysit so bad, but like it was her thing, So it was just and then like around my birthday, I would get so excited. Like I would focus on it so much, I would get sick. So like
yeah,
I was really
yes,
anxious.
yeah,
And of course, this is layered. And last week, our both of our pillars was death and fear.
yep,
And fear, because fear was at the base of everything for
yes,
me of the
yep,
future. Because I think that the world is ending, in a
yeah.
sense. I think, Jesus is coming back any minute. I want to live, like I want to live a life, but like you feel guilty because you want to be happy that Jesus is coming back because that's what everyone's telling you. Good thing, which I
Yeah,
mean, but I want to live, like I want to have babies, like I want to, it's like the most conflicting feeling in the world.
yeah,
So that's like your base. So like when my birthday would come, or Christmas would come, like I would just, it was such an like it was unhealthy, like it was just this, you couldn't really enjoy it because it was just like this might be the last one, like
right,
so
yeah,
it just would just become like this, and then like vacations and stuff, I would get sick too. So I was just I would like bottle it up, and then
right.
it
Yeah,
would
it's
just
like you couldn't breathe, or
yeah,
yeah,
it would
because
become
you
part of
were
my psyche.
waiting for something bad to happen.
Yeah,
Yeah,
doom, and like that popped up in a video I watched, like the doom wound, I think they called it. I
okay.
meant to Google it. I didn't, or look it up on. I was like, oh, that's interesting because that resonated because I was like, oh, that was exactly how it felt. Like I felt very doomy.
Yeah,
I need to look that up because I'm like, I think I have that wound. Or
you
I've been processing that wound.
right, yeah. Yeah, man. Yeah, that's really what it is. And you know what's funny is that my sister right above me is 4 years older than me.
Is she?
Yeah, and then my brother is 6 years older than me.
Okay.
And then I have a sister who is a little sister who's 15 years younger than me.
Oh,
So, yeah, so I was a baby for 15 years too.
Lucy.
Yeah. So, and then my little sister was born Karina. Hi, baby. Hi. Hi, Emma. Hi, baby. Hi. Yeah, so then Karina was born and she was like my little best friend and everything. But Yeah, man. Yeah, anxiety was real. I was always wanting to grow up too. Like I
Mhm.
always wanted to be older because my siblings were older and they would get to go out and play and I would have to stay home, or they would go to school and I would
Yeah.
be at home. And my mom said, like, she used to have to like hold me and stuff because I would just sit there and cry because I would just want to go out and play with everybody, you know? So, and I think that's within my Pisces too. It's just like, just being so,
Yeah.
oh God, type of
Like,
thing. And
yeah. And
feeling
it's funny,
so
I have
much.
lots of memories of that too. Like one memory, it's so funny, but we had gone to like a cabin for the winter. And for some reason, they forgot my snow boots. And I was like 4, but I still remember, like, and I was so sad. Like I just,
Yeah.
and honestly, those things stick with you. And I think they
Yeah.
become almost like you're so afraid of like missing out or
Yes.
like, because even now it doesn't bother me anymore. Like
Yeah.
if I miss out, I'm like, oh, okay. I've had experiences, I'm good. But like if I can see a pattern of like almost manifesting missing out,
Yeah. Yeah,
like
seriously, because you're worried about it so much.
it because I don't know, I feel like also like if it's not healed, then other things, even if it's not really that, it might we might see it that way because this part isn't healed.
Yeah,
Yeah.
for sure. Because it'll stem back to you know, what is going to be triggered.
Yeah.
If it's not healed, it's like an anchor, right? So
Yeah.
this is all of your energy coming down into your body. And if you don't
Yeah.
have safety and you don't have that root chakra on lock, like
Yeah.
it'll come all the way down and hit that and then come up and shake up your other chakras. So if you have the safety and if you have that anxiety healed, then your chakra can spin fluidly without something happening and then it shooting right down and then getting
Yeah.
your nervous system all worked up.
Right.
Which, so how would you say that you healed, or how did you go about, yeah, healing your anxiety or working with it?
I know. Um, well, initially I started to do hypnosis like at
Okay.
night.
Yeah.
Um, which I think subconsciously, I think it really began to sort of whatever it does. Like I'm not, I'm not, it's like in our subconscious, so you don't know exactly, but it began to sort of just tame things. Like
Right.
I could kind of, and really, for me, it was really tied to my fear of the future. So
Yeah.
once I understood and I started seeing how spirituality and science, and breathing and our heart and our mind and our breath and
Yeah.
like all of this like beautiful symphony, honestly. And I'm like, my spine is like going off because it's just like bing,
Nice.
bing, bing. Like for me,
Yeah.
it's like, okay, I don't have to worry about it. I don't have to
Right.
worry about it anymore. Like I'm
Yeah.
good. So
Yeah.
like when I'm having days where, and I probably now if I do have anxiety or I do have flare, it's usually because I've never been a parent before,
Yeah.
like, so like when like things come up of like, I want to make sure that being, I'm listening to my kids and
Yeah.
and like not like not giving them everything materially.
Yeah.
I mean, like if I can, I do.
Yeah.
But but like really, and like I'm noticing, I still have a negative pattern of like if they're having some type of meltdown or something, like if I'm tired or like if I'm having any human emotion, and I know that my higher self is telling me like try this, but it's so hard in that moment because I did never received this as a kid. Like if we had
Right.
a meltdown or something, it was like go to your room, like go, or we just didn't because I know when we were little, we probably got spanking. I know we got spankings.
Yeah.
So like I think it was just you knew not to do that,
Yeah.
or you stood in
Bless
the
you.
corner, or you said, God bless you. Does she have snot on her nose? Yes.
Yeah.
Hi. Here. Um, so but also knowing like sometimes we do just need like a timeout for ourselves. And I don't like I let them know like you can go do whatever you need to do in your
Yep.
room. Like, right now,
Yep.
I also need some time.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So, like I don't berate them, which is awesome. Like I broke that generational thing, so like
Yes.
I don't make them feel bad for what they're feeling. But I'm hearing my higher self be like, why don't you just open up your arms and say, come here, like,
Yeah.
and like I'm so close to that, but
Yeah.
it's like it's so new to me because
Right.
I grew up where it was like you're
Yep.
not acting appropriately, go figure it out, like go.
Yeah.
And that's my go-to. And that doesn't feel good,
Right.
like, but then it's also like I think my ego is telling me like, but then they'll think that's okay. And it's like so complicated.
Yeah.
And
Yeah. Because you have to be easy on yourself,
right.
right? By not understanding it yet, but it's there, so then you eventually will. Because I did the same thing with Andon. Like now, if he's upset or something, I do say, "Well, come here, and let
Yes.
me hold you, and we can breathe together, or you can go
Yeah.
scream outside or something, or do whatever." And it is within like just acknowledging that you're doing your best right now, and it will heal. Because I wasn't always that way either.
Yeah.
Like, so
And
yes.
compared to where like in 2020-ish, 2021,
Yeah.
and this is when I started looking for I was doing our curriculum and looking to see like do I need to include Bible, like finding the history of it. But during that time, like conscious breathing was or consciousness was so new to me. Like I was like,
Yeah.
what consciousness? Like what does
Right.
that mean? Like,
Right.
like um but around that time I was watching a lot of Greg Braden.
Okay.
You heard Greg Braden? He's
No.
like, okay. So he's awesome. But his whole thing is the heart mind coherence.
Okay.
Um
Yeah.
and yeah, so like the importance of that. So I was starting to dabble in that because like in the mornings or like at any given moment, like I would just be so overloaded with the three of them, and then I would explode. And it
Yeah.
was awful. Like I
Yeah.
felt like, who am I? Like, is it really that like what is this? Like, I don't
Right.
like it,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah.
And my mom she was more of a she would go like in her room and lock the door.
Yeah.
She got overloaded,
Yeah.
and I was turning into the opposite because I didn't want to do that.
Yes.
But then I'm like, but I don't want to explode at my kids either,
Right.
So
Yeah.
like I had to figure something out. Like I had to, like
Yeah.
that's
For sure. I did that once too with Andon. Is he did something, or I think I was sick or something, and he came in and so I think he like jumped on me or fell on my
mm,
face or something. And he was a baby, dude. And this one, like, it really hurts my heart because I'm like, you have to just stop. And then I went to the other room, but then it hurt him so bad. And I'm just like, fuck, dude, like that in my mind. And now I'm getting emotional. But it is like, this is why we do it. So then we can help them.
I know. Oh, I
Yeah.
know. I know. I'm very much in grateful that like, oh, there's like a bluebird on the house over there. Or maybe a blue jay. Um, oh, it's like hope, right? Isn't that like
Yes, exactly. That's what I was just thinking. And
yeah,
blue for emotions too.
yeah,
You'd be okay to like
transcending.
express these emotions and stuff like that. But yeah, it's like because when you close the door on your kids without letting them know everything is okay, like for me now, if I'm getting anxious or anything like that, like with Sammy, Ludo, and in here, and I'm very sensitive. I have to be like, okay, is everybody good? Because I'm gonna go out to the garage
Yes,
and I'm gonna work out. Like it's okay, or I'm gonna go take a bath. I just need
yes.
like a half an hour for me to decompress all of this energy that's going on around me,
Yeah.
and everything is good and it's healthy. And even Andon, one day Andon came up to me and he's like, Mom, I'm sorry if I don't spend that much time with you if I'm playing my video games or something. And I'm like, well, is it something that you like to do? And he's like, yeah. And I'm like, well, are we still spending time together, like watching movies and stuff here and there? And he's like, yeah. I'm like, Andon, it is okay for us to have separation. It is okay for you to go do your own thing and for me to do my thing and Sammy to do her thing. And
Yeah.
he's like, okay. And I'm like, and then if you want to hang out, let's hang out. And I'm like, but we do have our set times of where we go to the park with Ludo. We
Yeah.
have movie time in the afternoon. We go shopping and we do whatever. And then the rest of the day, it's like, all right, let's all do our own thing a little bit,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah. And it feels
So,
good.
yes, yes,
Yeah.
it's good to have
Like
space.
like last night, I realized, there's a way to use the things that, that can easily be demonized, like screen time or,
Yeah, right.
but like if you hit all your markers for the day, and you
Yeah,
do the things that are important,
yes.
in terms of taking care of yourself, and then that feeling you get like when we hit all our markers and then the kids are on their screens, I get like a boost of just like, oh, cool. Now I can, like we did it, like
Yeah, now you
now
can
it's not just
relax.
like, yeah, it's not just
Yes,
empty, it has a purpose,
yes.
like it's okay. Like it's
Yeah,
not, so I love
yeah.
that feeling that,
Yes. That was, yeah, that was big for me within creating structure within my day was big because
yes,
if you take on the day thinking that you have all of this shit to do along with tomorrow's stuff that you have to do, or if you have like these big ass checklists and shit like that, it can be so overwhelming, man. So for me, within my anxiety, well, okay, so I'll go off of the structure of the day and then I'll work into some other things. But
yeah,
being present, um, learning what the chakras meant was big for me so
me
that I
too.
could regulate those. Um, breathing techniques, presence. I remember being at work, and if I started to have anxiety, I would look at my hands and I would be like, I'm here, I'm safe, I'm good,
Yeah.
because anxiety really is worrying about the future.
Mhm.
So it's
And
like when
dwelling
you're,
on the past.
yeah, well, yes, and
Or
that kind
depression.
of slips into depression. Yeah,
Yeah.
is in the
Like
past.
regret.
But if you are in so much anxiety and your nervous system is so wonky all day, it's going to be so worn down that you don't have like any hope left,
Yeah.
that you do sink into depression.
And yeah. And then you're just so worried about like the next day having to do the same
Yup,
again.
right? And then
That's
you're,
where I was like even 3 weeks ago. Like
yeah,
before winter break, I was like running on like it was just I was dipping. I was dipping
yeah,
hard,
yeah,
and I knew dips don't like scare is probably the wrong word, but like I embrace dips now
yes, yeah,
because I know it has to go up. That's
yep,
where I love science and I love
yeah, dude,
spirituality
seriously,
because it's
yeah,
like it's energy. So
yeah,
it's you cannot keep going down and down. You just can't. Like
right,
you at some point will go back up.
yep, yep,
And not in the
that's,
sense of like, oh, I'm down here and then I found $1 million and now I'm happy. Like it's not
yeah,
about that. It's about
right,
being, what do I have down here
yep,
that I can be grateful for?
yeah,
In this,
yeah,
this now moment when I'm not
exactly,
feeling good, like I
exactly,
feel pretty shitty, like what can I do or what can not do? What can I be grateful for? What,
yes. And
like,
how can you nurture yourself?
yes,
Yeah,
yeah,
seriously,
which will
that's,
then
yeah,
trigger, the bounce up,
right,
and it's just a muscle. Like the more that we do it, they
yep,
become smaller and small, it's
yep.
like the waves, like the electrical waves that we learn
Yes,
about,
yes. And that's
you know?
why, like, in my readings, I'm always saying, like, riding the waves, surfing the waves, because we're always going to have ups and downs. That's what the energy is,
Start painting because like that's my when I start getting like residual from like my art and stuff, I'm gonna
yeah,
invest in like painting and like doing some paintings and
yeah.
waves. I want to do
Man,
waves
I
and
love
clouds.
waves.
Yeah,
Clouds,
clouds and waves.
yes, clouds too.
Like
Man,
there's
I should send you this picture that I did. Maybe I did. I'm not sure. Okay, but let's stay on course here a little bit.
yeah, yeah.
It was
I
like a
know,
house in the
sorry.
sky. It was like a house in the sky with clouds, and then it had like waters or whatever. I mean, it doesn't look the
So
best, but
weird.
I thought
Okay,
it
so
was.
I watched, this is so funny. Yesterday I watched the Gorillas um Feel Good.
Yeah, yeah,
But I hadn't seen the thing in such a long time, their
yeah,
music video, but
yeah.
it's a house floating
Yup.
in the sky with
Yeah,
clouds.
man.
That's so funny.
Yes. And then Noodle is sitting there like dangling her feet off the
Yes,
side. Yeah, I love that, man.
me
That is really
too.
what it is like,
Broke off kind of and then it's floating.
right, it's floating in existence while our journey is moving,
Yeah,
ups and downs and stuff, but it's like your higher self is always there with you, man.
yeah.
Everything is
Like I drew
okay.
a picture, oh, not a picture, but like I started to draw where is it? Oh, kind of like a diagram of like
Aw.
me,
Yeah.
me, I am spark divine. So like that's our nucleus. And then
Yes.
our higher self is out here,
Yes.
like drawn, like we're like bouncing, like drawing near, like it's always
Yeah.
there. And then
Yep.
in between is whatever layers that we need to just peel off. So
Yep.
we're constantly getting closer and closer to our higher self.
Yeah, yeah, man. And when you start to regulate your anxiety, anxiety is good because it tells you where you need to shift. It
Yeah.
tells you if there is expansion happening
Mhm.
and to ground yourself, but know that something needs to change. Know that you are needing to let go of a part of yourself or a layer of yourself to bring yourself back in balance. So,
Yeah.
anxiety is good when it's not like chronic anxiety, and the way to fix chronic anxiety really is like you can do all of this stuff, like you can do all of these practices and stuff, but for like this is what I learned, especially within ADHD too, because I was trying to get my diet on check for like 3 years, man. I was
Yeah.
trying all of these different diets, and then I went vegan for 2 years, which was really good. Like it
Yeah.
helped. It helped me. But if you don't have your diet in check, and if you're eating really bad food, a lot of sugar, a lot of carbs, a lot of processed foods, it's like it's good to have snacks like here and there,
Right.
but if you do not have like anything healthy, it depends on your neurons within your brain. And this is within ADHD too. I heard that like people who cut out sugar, who cut out carbs, so now I have a high protein, almost zero sugar, unless it's like fruit or whatever. And
Yeah.
sometimes I have like chocolate here and there.
Yeah.
Or if I have like a cheat day, whatever, but it isn't really in my diet on a
Every
daily basis,
yeah.
and then your mind isn't so inflamed because
Yeah.
sugar and carbs inflame your gut
Mhm.
along with your mind. So if your gut health isn't in check, neither is your mind health.
Yeah.
So that is like the biggest thing. You can do all of this shit, but if your diet isn't good, you're still
Yeah.
probably going to have anxiety, these worries. And
Yeah.
I had to get that on check within myself because it really helped with my ADHD too.
Yeah.
And what else was I going to say here? Oh, and I took nootropics too for a while,
Mhm.
which is like a lot of
Supplement.
healthy regulators to regulate your nervous system and stuff like that in your brain. And I was on those. The one that I took was Thesis, it's called. So just if
Okay.
anyone else is watching this,
Yeah.
Thesis, I was on that for 4 months, and that was enough for me to study and break away because I was getting enough dopamine. Really, that's what it was.
Yeah.
I was getting enough dopamine and my diet was good. Exercise, I started exercising, and my anxiety really went down after that. And plus, that was when my pineal gland opened too,
Yeah.
was because, and I quit drinking and everything. So it's really good, man. Your diet is
Part.
like what you feed your body is feeding your cells, you know?
Yeah,
So
for sure.
it's really
I know.
important.
I find that too. Because I'm like, if I wasn't breastfeeding, I would totally do, I think once I'm done, probably like next year, I really want to do vegan.
Yeah.
Just spiritually, I really, I don't know. I do it like, and when I'm ready, I want to slowly educate my kids, by understanding how, the massness of it, how they actually like it is it I to me it's a karma print, like in a sense of
Yeah.
like how they develop the meat. And it's one thing if it's local or but
Yep.
like even that, like I don't know, like I'm still like I'm still working it out, like I'm
Yeah.
not.
For me, my guides told me to become vegan because at that time I was going through such a huge shift that I was feeling everything and I didn't need extra hormones within my body
Okay. Yeah.
or extra feelings or extra energy from an outside source. Like animals have energy, right?
Yeah.
So when we eat their energy, we feel their energy.
Yeah.
So, and at the time, I wasn't eating like local grass-fed beef or local chicken or
Right.
anything like that. I was eating like freaking, I don't know, grocery store from wherever, additives
Yeah.
and everything like that into it. And I went vegan for 2 years and I really got my life on a pretty good track, like doing really, really good. And then last year they told me I was fine and I could eat meat like whenever I wanted, but still I have times when I eat meat and then I have times when I'm more plant-based.
Yeah.
So I really feel within my body. My
Yeah.
body will tell me.
And like I usually, like I'm an egg person, like I love
I
eggs.
love eggs too.
But like there's this huge thing with the eggs, like eggs are like like there was like they were tainted at first and then now so then they're like super expensive. So I was just like, seriously? Like, okay, well, let's see where this is going, like it's okay. Like we'll just shift a little bit.
Yeah.
Um, but like I like that makes me even more like non-visualizing, just living a little bit more with a little bit of land. Because I really want chickens. Like I want to be able
Yeah.
to have my own egg, like so I'm like, okay, so that's a stress that like I want to put that energy towards possibly visualizing something else coming into
Yeah.
play. So like I'll just focus on the energy making more energy, or having you putting the energy towards receiving more energy in order
Yes.
to make that happen.
Yeah.
So like just like shifted, like I'm not gonna I'm not gonna have anxiety over what I'm eating as long as I know that I'm doing the
Right.
best I can.
Yeah, seriously.
You
And
know, and,
worrying about what you're eating defeats the whole purpose,
it
right?
does.
Because then you're
I've
just,
had studies where like if they when they bless it and they are truly grateful
yes.
for it.
Yep.
And like water, like if you can say positive words over water or negative words and it
Yes.
changes the chemistry,
Yeah.
like how much, I mean, like that's where I'm like, I get the food thing. And I do think that like overconsumption and like additives, like all of that, obviously. But if
Right.
you are like, if you strip your diet down in a sense, like, and you're eating to serve, you're eating to live, not living to eat,
Yeah.
you know, and you're
Yeah.
grateful for what you have,
Yep.
and you're conscious about it, to me,
Yes.
like focus on that. Like don't
Yeah.
focus on, oh, I have to eat organic, or I have to, if I
Right.
then I have to go to the farm. Like those things are great. But
Yeah.
like I'm not in a position right now where it's like that is in my immediate, and I'm
Yeah.
not going to waste energy and being
Right.
like a terrible person. I'm not really spiritual because I can't go do that. Like
Right.
it's
Yeah.
not true. Like
Yeah.
I know who
Just,
I am, and those
yeah.
things will come,
Right.
and they'll come. I mean,
Yep.
that's, and like, I don't want people to feel shame. Like, if you can't,
Yeah.
like, if all you can do, if all you can do is get ramen noodles,
Yeah.
then bless the shit out of them and be thankful and go get some extra carrots and stuff, saute them and
Yeah.
throw them in there.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter. Like, just be thankful for what you have and be grateful and know that you're worthy and you will get more.
Yeah.
Do
I
you?
love that, dude. Bless the shit out of them.
Really?
Yeah,
Like
seriously. I mean, that's what it is too, because our bodies,
hobby. Like,
yeah,
you know?
yeah, our bodies too can like, what is it? Our bodies like can really transcend a lot or
Mhm.
can transmute a lot, you know?
Yeah.
And if you're just knowing like, yeah, don't shame yourself, man. Don't put yourself into
That
guilt.
does more. Yeah.
Yeah, because that adds more soggy vibes than the actual food, you know? And like you said, know that it will come because this is what I did too. Like I used to live right outside of the cities. So I didn't have access to a lot of, well, actually I had like right down the road from me was this cute little farm and I would go get eggs there. But they
Yeah.
didn't have meat or anything, so I did go vegan and then once I got back on meat, you know, I was like stressing myself out trying to find where to get the stuff. And
Yeah.
then my guides were just like, screw it, dude. Like it's gonna happen. And now where we live now, we have a meat market right down the road and we're in Wisconsin. So we have like meat and cheese everywhere. And I'm just like,
Yeah.
everything is local, everything is like free
Amazing.
range and everything. And I'm like, the universe put me right where I'm supposed to be so that I can eat this and
Yes.
I can do whatever I want to do, you know? Yeah, man.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
I love that. Yeah. Yeah, it'll find its way to you
Yes.
the right time, you
Yeah,
know?
for sure. Literally, all we have to do is sit and chill and have intention and know what we want to love and what will be good
Yeah.
for us, and the universe will bring it. Bring it on.
I know. Bring it. I love it.
Okay, do you got something?
I put just like the my hands all wet. My hands are wet now. Just I wanted to like my what other what other suffering did you like mine were procrastination, perfectionism, self-esteem, anxiety, and then I put ADHD even though I think it gets a really bad rap, but I think
Yeah,
it can really now I love the fact that I can do like five things at once.
seriously, man. Yeah.
And that
Oh,
I think when I didn't understand it,
yeah.
um, you know, you just think it's like its own thing, but really it's one it's like your I think it's your our higher selves wanting to just flow.
Yeah.
But when we're so wrapped up in the other things,
Yeah.
like, no, because I that's wrong. Like I have to just
Yeah.
focus on one thing.
Yeah.
And it's
Yeah,
like, oh,
I went through like a depression when I found out I had anxiety because I'm like, what's wrong with me? You know,
yeah,
type of thing. And it was for like 3 months, man. And I was going to see doctors, I was doing all this stuff. And like I'm like, wow, I've had, and then it sunk in, and I'm like, dude, I've had this my whole life, and this is why I didn't do good in school. This is
yeah,
why I couldn't regulate myself properly. And I'm like, I could have been doing this a whole, and then that sunk me even deeper into like a depression type of thing. And then eventually, like, my higher self came in, and we're like, fuck this, dude. We're not going to let this get us down. Let's look
yeah,
at the positives of this. Let's look at how we can regulate it and how we can try and go forward with it. And ADHD people are just really big antennas. We are the people, and this is
great
how
way to say
I
it.
believe we're so psychic too,
Yeah.
because we can feel everything. We can feel energies. We can see
And
energies.
isn't it interesting? And I don't know. I just this is why I call myself a muse because I take little pieces and I muse about it, and I'm just like, that's interesting, you know.
I
And
mean,
I
that's
don't,
how you learn, though.
yeah, and I don't
Yeah.
ever like, I never take things as like this is it, like because I we're always expanding and we're always
Yeah.
evolving, so it's just interesting in this moment. But the like Adderall, whatever those blocker, whatever they put in Adderall or the salts that they use to for the dopamine or the whatever it does,
Hmm.
there's been that can actually block
Yep.
our pineal gland.
Yes.
And I did not have any dreams when I was on Adderall.
Yeah.
Like very noticeably, I did not
Yeah.
have any dreams. I mean, like probably one or two. And I've been off of it. I went off right before or right when I got pregnant. And I have dreams all the time.
Yeah.
And I
Yeah.
don't always remember them. And they're not like super deep, like, oh, and they might be one day. And usually it's like what happened, like what's going on in my life, or like but like I'm very aware that I'm dreaming,
Yeah.
It's super exciting because it's
Yeah.
like that's part of us. Like dreams
Right.
are a part of us. And
And
it's a
that's how we receive messages too. That's
yeah,
how we understand our subconscious. And that's
yes,
how we can like go and float into the astral and stuff like that.
right. And
Yeah.
just knowing that it's like possible now,
Yeah.
like
That's
that was a huge, because like my husband, I think he was a little worried just because I was really scattered like before,
yeah.
And
Yes.
so he was just like, are you going to go on after, she's, after you have Emma? And I was like, no, because I had already know. And I was
Right.
so grateful in a sense to have a really good reason to just kind of go not have anything. Because I was also on venlafaxine, I think it's called, which is an anxiety, um, like a mood
Yeah.
booster thing,
Yeah.
which
Yep.
was for, I mean, like, I feel so, like, just the coming off of meds, I'm just, I'm so grateful that science is showing that holistically,
Yep.
um, there's things to do that you don't have
Yes.
to go on hard meds. And I totally have so
Right.
much, I get it. Like, I was there. I know when you just
Yep.
want a pill,
Yep.
I get that. But I'm excited for this and
Yes.
hopefully give people an alternative
Yeah.
that like I've been down that road. And it might be for some people, but I know how difficult it is to come off. And plus, I mean, like I was 6 weeks pregnant, so like that didn't help either because I was already nauseous.
Right.
But dude, I had some trippy dreams like coming off of it. Like
Yeah.
weird, like very like Stranger Things type.
Yeah.
It's and I remember just like not really going to sleep, but being in like that in between and just like it was very trippy. Like I don't,
Yeah.
it wasn't fun. It wasn't like
Yeah.
the fun dreams where you're like,
Yeah.
woo, this was like, oh my gosh, like
Yeah.
what
That's
right
That's
now.
funny because I have sleep paralysis on my list for
Jason.
today. Have you ever
Oh,
had sleep paralysis?
me? I sleep like a rock. I
Okay.
slept in earthquakes as a kid.
Okay.
So
So
like I'm just
sleep
like,
paralysis,
but Jason does.
okay, yeah, it comes when you're stressed
Yeah.
or if you're unbalanced within yourself. And this is, I used to have sleep paralysis here and there, and I haven't had it in like 2 years. And I know it's because your nervous system is so messed up that it creates an imbalance, but also within the spiritual realm. So, within the spiritual realm, there are those lower density realms, dimensions and stuff. And when your body is wonky, when you're having too much stress, your vibration cannot, you know,
It's
rise. Cannot
path.
rise and
Yeah.
capture or go into those higher vibration densities or dimensions or whatever densities. They go
Yeah.
more towards the denser ones. And this is what was happening with me when I had a lot of anxiety and stuff like that, and I was imbalanced, was I was having a lot of sleep paralysis, and it's fucking scary, dude. Like
Yeah.
literally, I felt like I saw this kid run from another room into our room and scream like in my face.
Oh my God.
And yeah,
Got like
dude.
my whole solar plexus, just like,
Yeah, it's like hardcore, man. And I had this other one at my mom's, and this was when I divorced my ex,
yeah.
and I was on my own, and I was seeing Sammy like every other week or something like that, but I was like doing a lot of drugs and stuff. But I saw like I was still sleeping and I saw something outside of my room and it
Yeah.
came right over me and it was hovering there and I could not wake up. It's like you're awake, but you're still asleep.
Yeah.
And it's from your imbalance.
Yeah.
It's from just being so stressed out, from your
Yeah.
body not being regulated. So that was actually on my list. And you talking about that sleep or whatever,
Yeah.
like that's probably what you were experiencing, not to that extent,
Yeah.
but like your sleep is really important, man.
But you know
And
what? Oh, go ahead. Go, go,
go
go.
go ahead. Oh, okay. So
Yeah.
also I was gonna say about the meds, that's why I went on nootropics because it's all natural
Oh,
stuff.
yes.
Like, and I told myself, I'm like, I do not want to be put on meds because I had antidepressants when I was like 16 or 17, and I really went numb. Like, I couldn't experience life, you know? All it did was cut off my receptors to everything, and I
Yeah.
didn't care about anything then, you know? And then later on, I got on anti-anxiety meds, and that shit just threw me right off, man. I sat on a couch after taking one of those and I could not move because I'm like, I was so filled with anxiety and I didn't take anything after that. And once I figured out I had ADHD, I'm like, I do not want to be put on meds, dude.
Yeah.
So that's why I went to nootropics and it's
Yeah.
all natural, like proven uh medicine or natural medicine. To like boost your serotonin or dopamine or calm you down or whatever. So, yeah, that's what
Yeah.
really helped me.
I know. I'm excited. Like once I always say I'm always aware of like how I say things, because
Mhm.
it's words are like spells, So like I'm I'm totally like so grateful where I am now, But like when those extra funds come, like start flowing, which is right, it's happening,
Yeah,
But I'm excited to look into just for like the overall health of like herbal supplement, because it's so good. And like our
yeah,
diets, even if you do organic and you do have your own garden, like the soy, like it's just good, like just
yeah,
to boost it and
yeah,
just
man.
I'm excited to feel that and see
Yes.
like, whoa, like this is,
Yeah. Supplements are so good. The ones I take too are B12 for your brain, and then
yes,
vitamin D, especially
yes,
since it's like winter, and fish oil pills are really good too because all of
yeah.
the omega 3s, your brain needs like omega 3s. So,
No, when you were talking about the dreams, um, I remembered when I was a kid, and my dad loves creature features. He used to work at Universal Studios like way back when, before he got saved.
yeah,
And he worked on like sets and he can do latex, he can make masks, he's very creative,
yeah,
Get my artisticness from him.
nice. That's awesome, man. That's so
Yeah,
cool.
he's amazing. And he can like paint like out of his head. He can cartoon, and I think that's where a lot of my perfectionism, like my ego as a kid, like I could draw. You know what I mean? Like, or I
Right.
had to look at something. And I think that became part of my like, which is still, I mean, like a lot of people can't do that, So, but I didn't, I would just see my dad and just be, and I think I just, I don't know. I think I just put a lot of expectations on myself. I don't know why.
Yeah.
But he loves creature features. And so we watched so when you said that the kid came in and screamed, so okay, so we watched the Twilight Zone, the old one, but I was
Yeah.
like 6.
Yeah.
And there's one, I can't remember which episode it's called, but it's where this guy, he's on a plane and it's so funny. He can't sleep for some reason. Like I think he has anxiety actually. Like he has
Yeah.
something, he can't sleep. And
Yeah.
so like his wife tries to give him a sleeping pill. So then he starts looking out his window, like they're in the plane up in the air, and he looks out the window, and there's like this creature, like this like gorilla type looking creature on the
Okay.
wing of the
Yeah.
plane. And he's like trying to like tell people, like he wants to tell his wife, and she's like, "There's nothing there, like just go to here, have a sleeping pill." And so like he closes the little shade, and then like it cuts to like everyone sleeping in the plane, and then he has to go see like if it's there, and of course he like opens it all the way, like I would
Yeah.
just peek,
Right.
no, he doesn't peek. He like opens it all the way, and the creature is all the way up with his eyes wide.
Yeah.
And I remember as a kid, it like I up and I just so this is the cool. So like from that moment, I could not have any shades open. Like if I
Yeah.
went up to my sister would have to go upstairs and close
Yeah.
the shade. Like
Yeah.
I was petrified. But what's funny is like now I can have the windows open, like I can have the shades open. And that is only like I even up until like 6 months ago, I
Yeah,
noticed like I still had a thing where I like had to shut the shades. And now like I'm like my nervous system is like, I got this. Like I'm not
yeah,
afraid of anything out there. Like that was,
right,
and I'm almost 40, but like
right.
still,
I mean,
like
it's real,
it's
man.
real. Like
Especially
those
within the
things.
subconscious, even if you didn't remember where that stemmed from, that could have still been, people could still be walking around saying like, "Oh, I don't like the shades open, whatever," or
Yeah,
and they don't know where it's coming from. So that's good that you actually
I
remember,
know.
so then you can go back and be like, "Hey, it's okay. It was a TV show type of thing,"
Right.
you
It's
know.
not real.
So
And yeah, it was like, but it's cool how art we can go back and we can heal those things.
yeah, for sure,
Because
for
you're
sure.
not living, 'cause then you're still allowing like fear to kind of dictate, like, I can't live fully because, like,
Right.
it's just,
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
making,
Anything that makes me like close up or anything like that, I'm like, screw this. I got to get to the bottom of it because I'm free. We're meant to be free. You
yes,
know what I'm saying? So
yeah,
it's like anything that is trying to close me up or doesn't feel good, I'm like, dude, I got to get this like under control so
yeah.
then I can break
And then
out.
it wasn't so much like being asleep and having sleep paralysis, but other movies, like we watched The Elephant Man too. And um, have you ever seen The Elephant Man? Have you
No.
heard of it? Okay. It's about this guy in like 1800s or around the turn of the century. And he had elephantitis, but like he was deformed, like his whole. And this movie was made like in the 80s. Um, and this is where like my empathic, I was really sensitive to like when I first learned about slavery, it wrecked me. Like I
Yeah,
could
man.
not understand. And like we would watch certain movies to like like I think just to show like this happened,
Yeah.
and but like it just broke, like I couldn't understand. Like how can humans be so away from their just treat other humans like
Right.
I
Yeah.
it just
And it's literally like the golden rule, man.
yes, like
Like,
how like I know like obviously like this, I mean like it's just mind-boggling,
mhm.
and like those were the two things that Jesus said, like love God, like
Yeah.
love the creator, love, so
Yes.
like basically love, like love is the most
Yes.
important thing,
Yep.
and then love each other,
Yeah.
like and you don't have to be like, oh, I mean, like, even if you're just,
Right.
I'm just going to give you respect and I'm going to come over here. That's still love. Like,
Yeah.
you can
Seriously,
see
man.
somebody's love by giving them space. Like, you
Yeah,
don't
man.
have to be like, I love everything about you. I mean, it can make you feel uncomfortable, but you can still just go over here and do your own thing.
Yeah.
Like, you don't have
Yes.
to stick your nose in and be like, what's this all about?
Right.
Like, I don't
Yeah.
understand. I don't like this. Like, who cares? Go over there.
Right. Go over there if you don't like it. Like,
Like, nobody asked your opinion.
I love you, but I have to like protect what I'm doing, you know?
Yes.
What it is. It's having love, having setting boundaries and stuff is having love for yourself.
Yes.
So, yes. I was going to touch on the perfectionism thing too, because sorry, I thought I had to burp. But my midheaven is in Virgo. So
Mhm.
that pertains to how I do my work and like within doing tarot and within even at work, like everything had to be so perfect. I had to get like I would do assembly and I
Mhm.
would have to figure out the perfect way to do everything.
Yeah.
Like it was just like everything had to be perfect within my tarot and everything and how everything looks behind me and everything. I always have to
Yeah.
feel like everything has to be perfect. This has to be there. And it used to be to the point where I would just clam up. Like I wouldn't want to do it anymore because I would think that it would
Me?
be
Let my dog in. Okay.
okay, yeah, yeah,
Well,
go
keep
ahead.
going. I can hear you.
Oh, okay, cool. So then it would be like, I would just clam up because I would think, have to think things are so, I don't know if I can do this without you here.
Sorry.
You're
Okay,
good.
go ahead.
Um, I would think, now what the fuck was I saying? I
You
would
would
have
plan.
to think things would have to be so perfect, and within me, it would create so much anxiety that I wouldn't be able to go forward with it, you know? Or if something wasn't
Yes.
perfect, I would scratch it. Like if my videos, if I didn't think my videos were perfect, I would delete them. And that
Mhm.
was doing a disservice to my work and to me and to spirit, because it is like spirit's message coming through me.
Yeah.
And if I were to stop that, eventually it's just like, this isn't me, it's for spirit. But it is like, yeah, I am doing the work to receive all
Yeah.
of these messages and stuff, but I don't have to be so hard on myself. You know, I can just flow with it. I can just
Yeah.
love it. So now, even like if I'm doing something else and if I feel like I'm getting too much into that perfectionism, I can feel my chakras kind of start to squeeze up because I'm starting to get a little bit of anxiety, and I just say, nope, I'm gonna do this a different day.
Yeah.
Or I'm just gonna say, I'm I'm not gonna think about it so much and I'm just gonna do it. And
Yeah.
I'm gonna just put it out there, you know, because that perfectionism can put up a wall and keep you stuck.
Yes.
Yeah.
So around 2020, I think that's when I started going, I just wanted a pill. Like I just wanted something to just that's just what you are taught, you know. Because I would explain this to people, like I would come up with like a creative idea, and then it would take me about a month. Like I had like a cycle. It would take me about a month to gear up enough energy to like begin this idea. It could be like a
Yeah.
drawing, it could be anything. Then once I like geared up enough to do it, I would do it and it would take so much out of me. I
Yeah.
wouldn't do anything for like 2 months
Yeah.
until I would have another idea and be like, gosh, I really want to do, you know, like, okay, I'm going to do it.
Yeah.
I'd have to build myself up for, and I mean, it sounds ridiculous. And I have so much compassion for people who find themselves in that cycle because it's
Yeah.
real. Like
Yeah.
it's real in that moment
Yeah.
when you have so many layers on top of your chakras and like
Yeah.
it's not open and you
Yup.
you don't know why. And it's like, why can I not, you know, and you just, and then it becomes in like the guilt and the shame and the, you know, like, I'm just, why can't I, you know, like, why can't I just do this? Like, why can that person over there do, you know, like, and it's just, you know, like, until you really start you start going to those roots, you know,
Yup.
gosh. And like now I'm like, I do so many small projects, you know,
Yes.
like that was, and that's where like when you realize like, wow, those manifestations are like happening. Like that was just a dream 4 years ago, you
Yeah.
know.
Yeah.
And when you're on that side of the 4 years, you know, our egos don't want to hear 4 years, you know, they want to hear like right now, you
Yeah.
know.
Seriously.
And it's like, I get that. And that's where you just have to say, you know what? Baby steps. Like
Yes.
every
And
little thing.
trust in divine timing, man,
Yeah.
because it took these 4 years for us to understand all of this to get to this
Yeah.
point, and I wouldn't trade it for anything, man. Like,
I know. Because
it's really
you
good.
don't know the journey. What's that saying? The journey is, what is that? Oh, the journey, gosh, it's like not the destination. The journey is
Fall
I
in
don't know.
love with the journey and not the destination type of
Yeah,
thing.
something like that.
Yeah. I'm sure whatever you're trying to say is more
Yeah,
magical though.
it is.
Yeah.
It really was. I mean, it was like, it's like that is that is the whole point of it, is the journey. You
Yeah.
know, like, yeah, because we never just arrive, you know, because then it
Right.
would just be, and that kind of ties into the religious side of it, which I just want to touch on
Yeah.
because
Go ahead.
for me, growing up in a home where um it was, so my perception was that So my parents kind of they were hippies. They the way they describe it was like they didn't really have like a purpose in a sense. Like they would go like to Vegas on the weekends and like gamble, they drank. My dad wasn't like a drug, like he was, I know he had done heroin, but like I don't know to like what degree. I know they smoked pot, like they drank. And then somebody shared with him about Jesus. Um, and so like he got saved and like he was delivered from like anything that was, that they considered, that. And then he shared with my mom and the same thing. So it was kind of like this moment, this pinnacle moment, and then their lives turned around. And then they were able, then they realized, like gambling your money away probably isn't the best idea. Like they kind of grew up in a good sense,
Yeah.
um, physically, or like in the physical world, like became responsible in a
Yeah.
sense,
Yeah.
which is good, like that, those are good things. But like spiritually and learning, but this is where like the church that they started to go to was like like Jesus is coming back. It's the last days, that's why there's evil everywhere, the world is getting worse, like you know which, if you look over the last 200, 300 years, slavery's been abolished, women have rights, like all these wonderful things, like
Yes.
technology is off the chain,
Yeah.
but like even technology, I had a really like I feared technology because that was the way that the what's it called? The Antichrist was
Mm.
going to track everyone, you know what I
Right.
mean? Like, which is like, I mean, like if they were gonna do that, they're already doing that. You know what I
Right.
mean?
Yeah.
Like, I mean, you know what I mean? Like it's already like that's already past that point. Like
Right.
if
Yeah, exactly.
and like in order to do that to like 6 billion people, like I mean, okay, like I don't think that's gonna happen. But like in the 80s, that seemed really possible,
Yeah.
It's like it was so new. So like I get
Right.
it, you know. Like you could actually go off the grid in the 80s. Like now you can, but it's like it's harder, like you kind of just we just it's so we use it so often, it's really
Right.
hard to just go off. And I don't want to. I like
Yeah.
technology now.
Yeah,
I like
dude.
technology. Like
Yeah,
we can do this.
seriously. Man, right?
You can talk to your family in
I love
Japan,
gadgets.
Like,
Like, I have a smartwatch, I
yeah,
have my phone, I have an iPad, I have
everything.
PlayStations, I
Yeah,
have, yeah, and
even
it's like,
AI. Like I'm
I,
like AI is awesome. Like
I
I
know,
mean, I
dude.
get
I
it.
talk to like AI. I'm just like, hey, I want to journal about my day, but I want to talk to somebody about it, but not
Yeah,
anybody else out there. So you want to talk to me about it? Like that, sometimes I do that before
that's
bed.
amazing. I
Yeah.
haven't done that. I don't. Do
Yeah,
you
you
do it in
should.
Google or is it chat or is it?
It's Chat GPT.
Yeah, I haven't
Chat
used that. I'm going to.
GPT. Yeah, you should. You should. It's
Yeah, and
cool.
even I've noticed that just Googling now, like if you Google, what did I Google? One of the last things I can't remember, but like AI will like categorize everything.
Yeah. And
Look at the
it'll
like
bring it up faster so that you don't have to search for it.
yes,
And then
like
you can get off of your phone and you can go about your damn
yes.
day,
It's like
right?
3 years ago, even I mean, I want to say even like a year ago, it would just pull up a bunch of crap, and you're just
Yeah.
like, hey, and now it's
Right.
just like the most. It's just so
Yeah.
efficient. Like,
Yes. And
ugh,
honestly, dude, like, okay, so for me, and this
reduces
is,
anxiety.
yes, that, like, honestly, dude, that was my last thing I had written down
Yeah.
was, well, not so much technology, but turning off all of my notifications on my phone.
Yes.
So that was probably one of the biggest things. Like, I don't have well, and I got off of social media for 4 years too, because I just needed to feel me and not
Yeah.
everybody else around me, and doom
Yeah.
scrolling and shit like that, which is like depleting your dopamine receptors and shit too. But I took off all of my notifications because I'm like, I'm the most important person. Like
Yeah.
if I feel like someone actually needs me. Like I have my messages, like my text messages are
Yeah.
the only ones that I have as a notification. And I
Okay.
get maybe like I'll get a text from you and
Yeah.
then maybe like my parents every once in a while. And then I talk to Christina a lot too. So
Yeah.
and that's about it. And it's not
Too. I mean,
like
but different people, but like yeah,
yeah.
it's not a
Yeah,
common thing.
and it's like because otherwise it's like I would see something go off and I'd be like picking up my phone. Or I would see something go off and I would pick up my phone. And it's
Yes.
like it's exhausting, dude. So I do love technology, but there is like a space,
Yes.
between like if
I
is
love
it
it as a
soul
tool.
sucking?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And I didn't really, because like I'm the same way with my phone. And I've
Mhm.
really tried to transfer everything to my computer.
Yeah.
So that like even my YouTube videos, I usually listen or like if I'm listening, like I'll do it through or on the TV. So it's like I'm doing it and then I put it away.
Right.
Um, or like I really and like my mail I put on my computer, except for
Oh,
one mailbox, just because
yeah.
like I just check it. Like it was
Yeah.
just something that made me feel like I'm doing something. I don't
Right.
know.
Yeah.
It's, it's okay. Like we need those little, like yay.
Right.
But it was becoming like, why am I doing this? Like
Yeah.
is it because I'm avoiding something else? Like could I be doing something that will actually, you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
could that
Help.
energy be something else?
Yeah. Yeah. So for
And
my
honestly, I saw like my production increase a little bit,
yeah.
you know?
Yeah. Really.
Um,
Like the way that I use technology or like my iPad or whatever is that I have like a to-do list, I have a journal, and
mhm.
then I have like, yeah, YouTube videos. I'll pop those in my ears and then
Yeah.
just let them play or something like that. But then later on in the afternoon, yeah, I do play video games with Sammy. I
Yeah.
I do my own stuff on
Why
them
don't you
and
play video
stuff.
games? Yeah.
Yeah, man. And
I
like my
know.
watch helps me with timers and seeing, and
Yeah.
I categorize like my days, like when I get in and stuff. Like I became
Yeah.
very structured and it's really nice because then I'm not just floating around. If I don't have that structure
Yeah.
or if I don't kind of plan out my days, then I'm just floating around thinking something's wrong
Yeah.
because I need to do something or something. So
Yeah. I
yeah.
mean, as a tool, I think it's amazing. So yeah, so like, but before, like I would it was like I any new thing in technology, I would just to me it was like one step closer to like just something this
The
thought what's it
end.
called thought what's that called where like there's another word that you attach to the thought where like a bunch of people thinking the same thing. um I'll think of it.
I
But
don't
so
know.
so just still giving that energy like that like a collective thought
Yeah.
pattern when really it's like I mean there's millions of possibilities. You know what I mean, like, but it's what we put our attention on that, at least for my experience, will that's the one that I would like to see happen. So
Yeah.
I'm not going to give that other weird thing any thought because it's just someone's interpretation and it's not actually going like no thank you.
Yeah.
So um so growing up like so to me it was like getting saved was really the most important thing that a person can do. And then my something else that I like received as a kid or like my perception was like psychiatry was bad. um Therapy really wasn't like sharing your feelings and like
Yeah.
psychology. Like I just remember it filtering in as like it was just not necessary or it was almost kind of evil. Like it was
That's
just like not
wild.
biblical in a sense. Like
Yeah.
that's what I received.
Yeah.
So there was no working on yourselves. And that plays into that type of like once because if what we fear is going to hell after we die, like that's the big fear. So if ask Jesus into your heart in order to avoid that, then like you're still worried in a sense about the future. Even though you're doing this thing to take care of that, you're still doing it out of fear to avoid that.
Right.
So you're still taking away, and then it's like nothing else really matters. Like works, and this is also like lingo. So like works are dead. Like you don't need to do like works are, you just need to have faith in Jesus in order to avoid.
Yeah. So they're like, fuck all your feelings.
Basically,
And you're just going to be saved one day. We're not going to tell you how. It's just Jesus is going to just come and
basically,
chill, come and take you or something.
yes, out of this terrible world that's going to pop,
Yeah.
which is a narrative. Like that's
Yeah.
not actually happening.
Yeah.
The world is not getting worse. It's actually evolving.
Yeah. Which is good.
We actually are have way more, if we're able to change the direction of our thoughts, we're very powerful.
Yeah. Seriously.
You don't have like you can immediately have dissonance to that and be like, no, only God is powerful. That's fine.
Yeah.
But if you really stop and think about it, the fact that you can do that
Yeah.
is very amazing. That's very, it doesn't make you a God. It doesn't make you God. It makes you a part of God. Like it
Right.
makes you really powerful. It
Right.
makes you powerful.
Yeah. I
You
mean,
change the
we are
course of
God.
your direction like
We are
that.
God, like in
I
the,
know.
yeah.
Yeah. Like, but like in not in the egoic sense,
Right.
right?
No,
Like,
of being like,
I
I am
am God.
God.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, you do that. Like it's not
Yeah.
like that.
Yeah.
But but when you're fundamentally when your mind has been like that, that's how it comes across.
Yeah.
Like, no, only God is it. But it's like, no, because we are made from God. So like
Yes.
in this human
Yes.
experience,
And
yeah,
that's where discernment comes in too. Like, what are you
yes,
feeding? And it's like, this is where anxiety helps because anxiety will come up and it will be like, okay, so now we have to feel what's going on. Now we have
yes,
to intellectually see, okay, what's going on? Where is this coming from? Is it coming from fear? No, yes, okay. Do I have to look at it or is it something that doesn't need my attention anymore?
yes,
Or is it something that I need to shift within myself? Or something that needs to be loved within myself and I need to integrate it, you know?
yes. And like
And
all
or
of that
yeah,
is stripped when you like when you're not really focused on the now. Like none of
right.
that matters.
Yeah, because you're worried about the external and you're worried about the future or the past or
Yes.
whatever. And the only time that matters is now because what you're feeling now is what manifests
Yeah.
later, you know,
And like
everything.
there's nothing wrong. And I don't want to put shame on like watching, Netflix or like watching, but like what that to tie into, like I know a lot of, and again, like I tend to what's that called? Like contrast like Christian circles because I came like I that's what I grew up in,
Yeah.
so I want to be able to show like, and not like hypocrisy, like, oh, you hypocrite, like not
Yeah.
that. But when you're in, it's very easy, like when you're in, because I mean, I was there, like when you're not thinking, when you're not conscious about it, and you're just living based off of a belief system that you just accepted because you didn't know anything else.
Yeah.
And then you find yourself just, having these things of time where you're just watching TV or you're
Yeah.
just like you don't really have a
You're
purpose.
not putting your energy towards something that matters,
Right.
you know?
Exactly.
Like
And
it's cool to
or
chill
like
out
you're
and watch.
exploding at your kids or
Yeah.
you're stuffing your feelings down because you don't know how to process those things
Yeah. Yeah, you're
because you're not
escaping.
taught
Yeah.
how to. Because those things, even though no one says this, they don't matter because you're saved. You're saved
Right.
from hell. So nothing else matters.
Yeah, that's
So
crazy.
just figure it out until Jesus comes back. Like just go,
Right.
volunteer at your church, give your money, and it, like it sounds like sad, but like that's truly like
Yeah, that's wild, man.
that's what a lot of people's existence is.
Yeah.
And then they find themselves burnt out or they're backstabbed by somebody in the church because no one's doing the work that it
Right.
takes in
Yeah.
order to peel the layers off of why we're all hurting and why
Right.
we're all suffering. Because the moment is right now. It's
Yeah.
not about some future moment.
Right.
We're not going to be rescued. We're not going to be whisked away.
Yeah.
The second coming is that realization, like it is like a thief in the night, and almost like you
Yeah.
are just like, oh my gosh. Like I remember that moment of like my consciousness expanding and I'm being like, whoa, like it's so much bigger. Like it's so
Yeah.
much bigger than I thought.
Yeah.
I'm connected. I've never not been connected to God. And not because of something that I believe or I'm saying, or because it is. I am. Like, oh my gosh, like that moment is like that's that moment,
Now
that
that's when you're saved.
yes, that's the good news. Like
Yeah.
we've never been not connected. That's the good news.
Right.
That and
Yeah.
that's what Jesus, I think, was really trying to show. Like, like where I am, not him, where I am, like that Christness, the Father is. So
Yes.
when you are aware of your I amness,
Yeah.
you're with the Father
Yeah.
right now. The kingdom of
Yep.
heaven is within you right now,
Yes.
not when I come back. So like that's the most exciting part for me because it's
Yeah.
like, oh, like that's way back when. And like I remember drawing like pictures, like I would draw like like I would draw like the earth, and then I would draw like where I thought hell would be, and then I would draw like where the father what like where the light was. And like I would like look at it and be like, separation doesn't work. Like it doesn't work. Like I don't know why. It just doesn't work. It doesn't make sense. Like if God is all there is, then he can't just be off somewhere. Like that
Yeah.
doesn't make sense. Like what? You know?
Yeah.
And it's so like, okay. And like to have found each other and to be able to like flush these things out and to realize like, oh, it also makes sense. Like it
Yeah.
also, like you can
Yeah.
actually talk about this stuff.
Yeah. Separation doesn't work because are all one.
Yeah.
Everything is one. And within anxiety and within not feeling our feelings and understanding where to balance ourselves out, we do go to those escapism of watching TV, of mine was I smoked a lot of weed and I did drugs and I drank a lot, and it's all because when I wouldn't do those things, I would feel anxiety.
Yeah.
So within releasing all of that, figuring out who we are and that we are love, everything stems from us. People, you know, within the religion or whatever, it's like people aren't working on themselves, therefore they don't know how to love another. Because to truly love another, you must love yourself
Mhm.
fully, and then it's easy.
And
Like,
that's so true. I'm so glad you said that. Because that was one of the things where like I remember in my like subconscious cloudiness thinking like, what's the what's the point of like love? Like being really cynical of like we're told that we're supposed to,
yeah,
but if we're also judging other people, you can't do both at once. You
mm-mm,
can't. It's
no,
polar opposites. You
yeah,
cannot love and judge somebody at the same time. You
right,
can't do. You can
yeah,
tell yourself you can, but
right,
you're it's like you're it's like you're cutting yourself off. Like
yeah,
you are literally um yeah, you're like cursing yourself
yes,
how you think you are doing what you're you
yeah.
know?
If you have judgment for another, you have judgment within yourself.
Mhm.
Like you judge yourself for not being free enough to do something someone else does, or whatever. It's like you're not accepting of yourself, so then you're not accepting of another,
Yeah.
you know? So it's like it all coincides.
Yeah.
It all coincides. And we are all one. And we
It,
are all love. And it's
it
beautiful.
it is.
All
I
right?
want to, can I read something? It's just, like, I don't even know if it'll make sense.
Yes.
I wrote
Yes.
it down. Okay, so working on ourselves is required in order to live an empowered life. This is our purpose. When we step onto that road, we at first think that we are going towards a better version of ourselves until we realize that we are, in a sense, going backwards to all the parts of ourselves that are in need of healing. This journey backwards is our remembering.
Wow. That's so good.
I know. And it's
That's
that's where it's like it's a
beautiful.
circle, you know?
Yes.
Like it's not linear. Like it's not this happens and then we try and convert people to what we think is something and then we die and hopefully what we believed was true. You know, like we don't like we focus like it's we're connected so we go into ourselves and we love ourselves first and then we're able to just like, oh, okay, you're good too, like we can
Yeah.
just then you just accept, you know, and it's
Yeah.
beautiful.
Yeah. It's like you accept people. You accept everyone because you understand the journey and you understand that everyone has their own things that they're working on
Yeah.
to find their way back home to the center of their heart. My heart is like exploding right
I
now.
know, me too. I know.
Okay, do you think that's it for this one
Yeah,
then?
I
I
think
think
that's
so
good.
too. I'm feeling really good.
We stayed
So,
on topic, I feel like.
yeah, me too.
I
All
know.
right, Lulu, I love you and
I love
stay
you too.
on. And you guys, I can't
Ready?
wait to see you guys on the next one. And do we know what we're talking about on the next one? It would be our last pillar, right? Or our third pillar?
Color. I know I was trying to think of it's in my notebook somewhere.
It's okay. Mine was
Yeah, figure it out.
oh, our kids. Ours
Oh
was the
yeah.
same thing, was our
Yeah.
kids. So,
Yes.
yes, that will
Please.
be on the next one, and then along with whatever else we venture off into. So,
Yay.
thank you guys for being here with us.
Yes. I was
Yes.
thinking of something and then it like left my head.
Great.
So
Okay.
yeah, forget.
Bye, guys.